Hi, I'm Sharon Jones of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, and I'm here to read a few passages or paragraphs from James Brown live at the Apollo back in 1962. So one of the passages I think I'm gonna read a paragraph is called "The Hardest Working Man in Showbiz." That's how they used to say it back then. Now here we go. Let me just start here reading. You thought that was just a slogan, live at the Apollo, was at least James Brown's 24th show of that week. Can you imagine that? The Apollo Theater had four or sometimes even five shows a day, starting with the early afternoon, and the revenue had been playing there since Friday, the 19th. At that point, and through most of the 60s, the James Brown Review was playing around 300 days a year. 300 days a year, 4 or 5 shows a day. No review was too tiny, no drive between gigs that was physically possible to make was too long. This particular leg of their endless tour had started October the 9th at the Rainbow Gardens in Denver, Colorado. They worked their way across Texas. Then they stopped off for a one-off engagement at a gymnasium in Jackson, Mississippi before the Apollo gigs. Imagine that now. Thursday, October the 18th, was eventually spent rehearsing in New York. Trombonist Dickie Wells, a veteran of Count Basie's orchestra, had been brought into the band specifically for the Apollo shows. Traditionally, the outcoming and incoming shows would have a Thursday night rap party at the Palms Cafe, a bar and restaurant down the street from the Apollo, between midnight and 3 a.m. Now, Major Robinson would broadcast over WWRL from the Palm all through the 18th was his final last night there. The show had just closed at the Apollo, had been a gospel review featuring the Soul Stirrers, Sam Cooke's former group, who was still among the biggest stars of gospel, and the Swanee Quintet, friends of Brown from way back then in Augusta, Georgia. After Live at the Apollos was recorded, the Brown Review wandered up and down the East Coast, playing armories, arenas, darting west to play out at the Odd Fellows Hall in Steubenville, Ohio, on October 30th, then spending November in Mid-Atlantic, including 10 days engagement in Baltimore's Royal Theater and Washington, D.C.'s Howard Theater. By modern standards, James Brown tour promotions was pretty hazardous. Can you imagine that? Posters advertising this show would often say, tickets available in the usual places. That means record stores, barbershops, drugstores. The Brown organization tended no promotion shows themselves or promoted them with local DJs. A smart move. Check this out now. The DJs would get part of the take, so they'd plug the show on the air and play James Brown record whenever they could. This was not really considered an ethical problem in those days. Nowadays, something different. Okay, King Records used to deduct their payola cost as a declared business expense. Some DJs wanted cash only, Now, Sid Nathan said in 1959, he told them all, if they wanted payola, they'd have to take a check. All right. That's the hardest working man in showbiz.